Hey all and welcome. So, let's dive into something big that's unfolding right now in Washington. We've got a government funding deadline just around the corner, and instead of things moving toward compromise, tensions are actually heating up. President Donald Trump has just canceled a planned meeting with top Democratic leaders, and that decision has thrown even more uncertainty into the mix. With September 30th approaching, the risk of a government shutdown feels closer than ever. So, what's really going on here? Well, let's start with the basics. Every year, Congress has to pass spending bills to keep the government running. This time, Republicans, who currently control both the House and the Senate, have put forward what they call a clean funding extension. Their plan would keep the lights on through November 21st, without too many strings attached, just a little extra money for security needs in government buildings. On the other side, Democrats have a very different vision. They're pushing for a shorter extension, one that would last only until October 31st, but they want to attach several priorities. Think restoring some programs that were cut under Trump, reversing Medicaid reductions, bringing back funding for public broadcasting, and also reinstating extra Affordable Care Act subsidies that were originally put in place during the pandemic. Now here's a thought. Is it fair for Democrats to fold in these policy demands into a stopgap bill, or should those be handled separately? That's one of the key debates happening right now. There was supposed to be a high-level meeting later this week between President Trump and Democratic leaders, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. The goal was to negotiate a middle ground. But Trump abruptly canceled, saying their demands were, in his words, unserious and ridiculous. He even claimed their proposals would cost over $1 trillion and accused Democrats of trying to sneak in health care coverage for undocumented immigrants. He added that he'd be willing to meet again only if Democrats dropped what he sees as unrealistic demands. So, here's a question for you. Do you think walking away from the table strengthens Trump's negotiating hand, or does it just make him look unwilling to compromise? Of course, Democrats didn't stay quiet. Chuck Schumer came out swinging, saying Trump's refusal to meet shows he actually wants a shutdown. He painted Trump as someone who prefers ranting and hiding rather than working together. Hakeem Jeffries went even further, calling Trump's comments unhinged and accusing Republicans of running scared. On the flip side, Republican leaders like Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune are standing by Trump. They argue that Democrats are using the funding deadline to force through costly policies that have nothing to do with keeping the government open. It makes you wonder, is this a battle over money, or is it really a battle over power and messaging? The stakes couldn't be higher. If no deal is reached by September 30th, we'll see a government shutdown. That means thousands of federal workers could be furloughed without pay, national parks might close, and government services that millions of Americans rely on could be disrupted. On top of that, shutdowns usually create economic ripples. Markets don't like uncertainty, businesses with federal contracts could be left hanging, and everyday people might feel the impact in ways that aren't always obvious at first. Have you ever experienced a shutdown yourself? If so, you know it's more than just a political chess match. It affects real lives. So, what happens next? The Senate is expected to reconvene on September 29th, just one day before the deadline, to vote again on the Republican proposal. Time is extremely short, and it's unclear if either side is willing to give ground. Democrats say they're offering a way to keep the government open while addressing key priorities, but Republicans say those priorities don't belong in this bill. And let's be honest, both sides are playing not just to each other, but also to public opinion. At the end of the day, when the dust settles, who the public blames for a shutdown might matter as much as the shutdown itself. So here's where I want to hear from you. Do you think one side will blink before the deadline, or are we heading for yet another shutdown? And more importantly, who do you think the American people will blame if the government does shut down? Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me today as we untangle this unfolding drama. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, make sure to give it a like, share it with a friend who follows politics, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and take care.